We're cooking with gas today, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, it's Friday. We're on an hour early, and Matt forgot we were on an hour early today, and Chartrand was running late, and my patented 10 minutes before the show, firing everything up here, and I've got a plethora, a smorgasbord of things here on my desk that we're going to get to a little bit later in the show. Matt, I love how quickly you can pull a show together.
Yeah, man. Taking a page out of the Mike Flanagan book. While you were here early and ready to go, you are the king of chaos, the king of mastering chaos. So I took a page out of your book today, got all my ducks in a row here, and was able to fire the stream up in time.
And of course, again, today I'm in a Johnny Big Time you and our guest, and I have to leave about 10 minutes before the program is over because I'm going to be on the Sport of Bowling show again today. And they have Brad and Kyle on. So it'll be Chad Murphy, Jason Thomas, myself, Brad, and Kyle. So happy Friday to everybody. You know, we run an interactive program here today. And today our guest is going to be the CEO of Kegel down in Florida. And I've known Chris Chartrand for a long time. And he's been a huge supporter of what we've been doing here at Inside Bowling over the years, to the point that they were official lane maintenance supplier of the Inside Bowling tournament when we ran that. And they always made sure that they brought someone out. They even shipped in lane machines. And they did all of that because they wanted to make sure that my tournament was being held under a condition that was consistent lane to lane. And that's just what they do. They just help tournaments out. Not to say that everybody should write in and ask them to go help their tournaments, but when you put in a lot of work and a lot of effort into trying to have a national event and you reach out to guys you have a relationship with, for them to do that, they didn't have to do it. And I will always remember that. And they will always be number one in my book. And I forget the number, but like Doug Dukes and Gus Falgene and, man, the list goes on and on. Mark Davis, all these guys, they go out and they work all these events like Junior Gold and things like that. And, you know, those guys don't have to do that. And they do it at a very affordable cost. So hats off to them, everything they've done to innovate down there at Kegel. And today we're going to get into some things dealing with COVID-19 that they've been doing. And I can't wait to talk to Chris about it. I know they've been working hard down there. Matt, let's get to our Bowler X poll question from yesterday. Yesterday we had Bakes and Jazz now on. And the question was, how many pins do you think your average would increase after a lesson with Mark Baker or Mike Jazz now? 1 to 10 comes in first at 50%. 11 and 12 pin or 20 pins, 33.9%. More than 20, 8.5%, and average wouldn't change, 6.8%. And you said, Matt, yesterday, if anybody were to pick average wouldn't change, that they should just go jump off a cliff or something like that.
No, Mike. Don't take my stuff and take it to the extreme here. Okay. Don't take my words out of context. What I said, that we would ban them from the Inside Bowling show. It's a little bit different. So I'm going to have to go through the Twitter analytics to try to see if I can find out who voted for what and ban some people from our Twitter, from our show. I mean, we don't want you to buy our merch. We just don't want you.
My guess is the people that voted for that are people like Stu Williams, Chris Barnes, you know, guys like that.
Guys that are in denial is basically what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Well, just to be, you know, just to be those guys. That's probably who did that.
That's fair. It's a good point.
All right. Today's Bowler X poll question. What do we have today, sir?
So today's Bowler X poll question for the Inside Bowling show is, which of the following has impacted the sport of bowling the most? Evolution of equipment, new lane surfaces, new lane machines, or the evolution of human skill?
I like it. Yeah. Good one today with having Chris on. Obviously, they've they've got the lane machine down, that's for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how our votes come in, and we'll update that on Monday. We are on episode number 35 here, Matt. Can you believe that? 7 weeks of this show.
7 weeks. We got one more week left to finish out our first 40 episodes that we are committed to, Mike. And who knows? Who knows where we'll go after 40?
Yeah, we really don't know, everybody. This isn't like we're trying to like hype this up like we really know what we're doing.
We really have no idea.
No, we have no idea what we're doing moving forward. We have a business to try to turn around here coming out of pandemic. And do we have 3 hours a day plus booking guests and building graphics and using those resources to keep this show going? I just don't know. And if you want to reach out to us, give us your opinion on the show and things that we should do, you can hit us up at media@insidebowling.com, media@insidebowling.com. We've received, I'd say 50, 60 emails from people that watch the show, and we do appreciate it very much. So,
anybody that's out there that wants to maybe throw a $50,000 sponsorship our way to keep the show going as well, feel free. That could be at sponsorship@insidebowling.com. In all seriousness, so if you like the show enough, you got some free money to throw around, we'll take it.
That's the difference between me and you, Matt. I think I'd take 500.
But you've always taught me to shoot for the stars, Mikey.
Yeah,
you've always taught me to shoot for the stars. If we ask for 50,000 and we get 10, we'd be happy.
That's true. No, that's definitely true. That's true. All right. Well, welcome everybody in today that's watching hour early here on the program. This guy, like I said, Chris Chartrand, who we're about to introduce here to the show, he's always been good to me. This guy, I think the first time I met him was in Reno. I think he was bowling nationals with the Perushad brothers. Maybe Lacaze might have been on that team. I can't remember exactly. O'Neill was running around. I know that. I don't think he was bowling. I don't think he could bowl at the time or something. But I think that's the first time I ever met Chris. And ever since, whenever we have a chance to see each other or have a conversation, we always do. And we always have good conversations. So I think you're really going to enjoy today's guest. We tried to get him on earlier. He wasn't ready. And he hit me up last week and said, hey, I want to be on this week. And he sent me a care package of a lot of products. We're going to have a little QVC section today on the program. So with no further ado, let's bring in our guest today from Florida, Chris Chartrand. Welcome to the program, brother. It's good to have you here.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you. You guys are doing great work.
Yeah, thanks. What's going on?
It was Matt McNeil was bowling with the Perushad brothers and us. We had Matt McNeil the year before he turned into the Open Championship Eagle winner for 6 years in a row. We had him the year before. The Perushad brothers and McNeil, they just had me on the team for free shirts. That was my role. I think maybe I can get some bowling balls to help out, but it wasn't for my skill knocking down bowling pins. Not quite as good as I used to be in college.
Okay. Well, I've always known you to be a guy that's got a nice full head of hair. And during this pandemic, you shaved the head. What was going on there?
Yeah, I mean, most people grew their hair out. It grew beards. I was always curious. I knew that when I got older, that when I lost my hair, that I was going to shave it and tan it. So I was generally curious what my head looked like. So when the whole pandemic thing started, I'm like, I'm not going to see anybody for a few months. Now's a good time. So I talked my wife into it. I went and just kind of buzzed it short. So it was longer than this. And then she's like, well, if you're going to do it, just go for it. So we took the razor out and went for it. And that's why I'm wearing sunglasses, because when I shaved and I have my brown glasses, everyone said I look like Tom Clark, and I don't want to confuse your audience and think that Tom Clark is the guest. Now they might confuse me with maybe Ben Affleck, Jason Statham. Some of those guys might be confused. But I don't know. The first couple of weeks, my wife thought I was a stranger living in the house. But now that like a little bit of stubble and I've gotten outside, gotten some sun, I'm getting used to it. I don't have any bad hair days.
Are you still maintaining it then? Are you still?
Yeah. Well, the problem is, so it was not the intent to leave it short. It was just to kind of do something goofy and see what it looked like. So I did it. What I didn't know was as it was growing back, I could really see the places where I'm going bald and losing my hair. And I entered this crazy, weird phase where I looked like a defected peach, like it was growing long in some spots and not in others. And I looked ridiculous. And I'm like, I don't know if I can get through this phase. So it was bothering me. So I just kind of buzzed it short again. Now I haven't gone full razor super bald, but I've kind of gone to this little stubble buzz look. And it's growing on me. What do you think, Mike?
I think you look like a badass, man.
Yeah. Not as badass as Doc Holliday behind me. He's the ultimate badass.
Let's dig into this painting you have behind you and the story behind this painting.
Well, it's good to have relatives that are in the art business. So my aunt and Uncle Howard and Aunt Susan, they live down in South Florida, and they've had an art gallery for a lot of years. So we bought this house last year, which has got some cool bowling stories. I think you might remember. We bought this house in April. And my aunt and uncle said, that we can have a piece of art as a gift for the house. So I like pop art. I think it's a lot of fun. My wife, though, when she sees pop art that's kind of crazy and stuff, she sees chaos. She doesn't like pop art as much as I do. But she's the biggest Tombstone fan in the world. It's like her favorite movie. So when my uncle showed me this piece, which was blended her favorite movie with pop art, it was a good common ground. So yeah, it's a cool piece. It's a one of one. It's not a poster. It's a one of one from an artist named Sarah Vallo. I don't know him very well. My uncle tells me it's quite valuable, something like, I don't know, 10, 15,000. So, but it looks cool, right? I mean, I've been in a million Zoom meetings over the last couple months, and it does say a lot to see what people have behind them. I mean, I see Matt's got his Team USA jerseys. You look like some bowling pins.
Yeah, Mike, where's your 330 pins over average banner or something?
Yeah, it's a Gateway Classic banner where I won the tournament, 120 plus entries, and I happened to bowl 300 that day banner. Yeah, Matt.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you don't have it hanging up.
It's over there.
Oh. Well, I know a lot of people. I haven't figured out how to do like the green screen thing where you pick the background behind you. But you see, it does screw up for some people. It gets like that black halo where it looks like they've got like that extra kind of thing of hair. But this is cool. This is different for a background piece.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, Chris, just a quick story. When we first started the show up, we were like, oh, it's got a green screen feature. This is so cool. We can mess around. We can have a cool green screen behind us. And Mike has a green screen. So he's like, let me set this up right here, and we'll see how it looks and what we can do with it, right? And so he turns his green screen feature on, and he's like, oh, this is cool. It's great, whatever. Then we go to test the show. We have our initial test launched. Everything is shiny in Mike's background, and everything looks all jacked up. And he's like, somebody help me in the comments. My camera's all messed up. Somebody help me. Tell me what to do, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it took him a couple of shows to realize that he had his green screen on still. And when you have your green screen on and not a green screen, it just jacks up the whole picture and your camera looks terrible. So it's just another shot at Mike here because that's what he likes me to do.
I'm surprised Mike didn't have it perfected before he started. He's usually very well prepared.
I'm getting old, man. I'm getting old. Yeah. That's the
you guys are doing. I've followed some of the shows. You guys are doing a lot of great work. It's been an interesting thing in the industry to see a variety of these podcasts and live stream shows have popped up. It's been a lot of interesting content been created in the bowling industry, which has been cool. We talked about it, but by the time we actually thought about it, there were so many people doing it in that space. We didn't think we could really add a lot of value and differentiate ourselves enough to where the industry needed another one. So being a guest on your show is plenty.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Let me tell you, it is a big deal.
But the Don Agent show, I mean, we've been doing that for a while. Those aren't live, but we plan to continue doing that. That'll get started again.
Yeah, it's a good show. Donnie's hilarious. It's a great show. So we've got a few different things we need to do here today. For those that don't know, you're the CEO of Kegel down in Florida. And folks that have heard of Kegel but really don't know what goes on in that building, and what you guys do down there. If we could get a Cliff Notes version of what Kegel does for the industry and what you guys do down in Florida, that would be wonderful.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, our real core business is lane maintenance. When I talk to people that aren't in the bowling industry, I point them to past the foul line. Most people are aware that there's oil or grease or whatever they call it, but lane conditioner on the lane. And we manufacture the equipment that applies the conditioner to the lane, and also, the machine cleans the conditioner off the lane as well. We also make the conditioner and cleaner, the chemicals. There aren't too many people that actually manufacture these type of lane machines. And of the ones that do, we're the only one that also manufacture chemicals in-house. So really our core business, when you look at who we are as a brand and look at our revenue, lane maintenance is really kind of who we are. Something John Davis is the founder. He started the company back in 1981. And as we progressed as a company, in the 90s and into the 2000s, he really saw a big need for professional companies, people that had knowledge about lane conditions, to go out and take care of some of our most important events around the world. So he volunteered his services to, send lane machines in and send staff into tournaments around the world. And it's just been something that we've done from that point forward. For the last 25, 30 years, we've had crews all around the world taking care of some of the most important events. So we're partners with USBC to provide maintenance for all of their tournaments. Junior Gold, I think you mentioned earlier, partners with World Bowling, the Asian Bowling Federation, the European 10-pin Bowling Federation. You name it, we've got people all around the world. In total, we've got people on site with lane machines and conditioners right at around 60 events worldwide. So it's really quite a financial commitment to have staff all around the world. There's no question it delivers a marketing benefit to the brand, to have people see our equipment there and see our patterns. It definitely drives demand for people wanting to practice on the products that they see in tournaments. So it's certainly a big part of our sales and marketing strategy, but the level of which we do it goes beyond just a marketing return. It's definitely because we care so much about the sport and feel it's our responsibility to help the sport have a very balanced, level playing field. We're unique in that some of the other companies that have equipment, they also make consumer products as well. We're kind of this independent, don't have a dog in the hunt entity, so I think that's a part of what we deliver, is not only the knowledge and the expertise, but also the perception too of that we really have, no bones, no dogs in the hunt. We're not playing favorites in any way. Our goal always is to try to create an environment that understands the format and everything and tries to deliver an environment that's as fair as possible for the athletes. So, that's kind of lane maintenance. Also, Big John built a training center back in 1997. So we do have a facility where we coach bowling. We've got 5 coaches on staff full time. And, when we started the training center in 97, the market wasn't clamoring for a bowling training facility. There weren't signals financially that said, if you build one of these, you're going to get rich,
Right, yeah.
He did it because, again, he thought that the industry needed it. Thought that if we built a place like that where people could learn a lot about bowling and had really cool technology, that people would come. And, over the last 23 years, the business has certainly grown and, been successful for us. But I think we take the most pride in seeing other training centers have popped up around the world that have really kind of followed the lead that we set when we built the first one. So, seeing a training facility in Hong Kong and what they have down in Arlington and some other places, it makes us happy, because the more places there are for bowlers to fall in love with our sport and get better and stay in love with our sport, the better it is for all of us long term. So, we view all of those other training centers as really allies in helping us, help our sport long term. And then one of the most recent things, I mean, there's a few others, but Specto really was born out of the training facility, was a product that we introduced a couple years ago and has really enhanced the telecast on the Pro Tour. You know, as a bowling fan growing up, I mean, I've been a bowler since I'm 5. Marshall Holman was my idol when I was younger. You know, I couldn't wait to watch bowling on Saturday afternoons. But as a big bowling fan, it gives me a lot of personal pride and satisfaction seeing how the show has been enhanced using this technology that we brought to life. It really, it makes me proud, makes me smile inside, you know. So that's Specto, and then we'll obviously talk about one of the other side projects that we've had in addition to that was some tablet manufacturing that we do outside of bowling. That's generally speaking who Kegel is and what we're all about.
Yeah, and you guys have about how many people that work for you down there?
100.
About 100 workers. And then you guys are also extremely connected with Weber International College.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's funny how that happened. I mean, John Davis always thought that'd be cool to help a college bowling program, and I bowled a couple years at Florida State and had some eligibility left. I was looking to get my MBA. Weber's very, very close. A few of us were talking about doing that at Weber at the same time, and we kind of joked like, hey, we can bowl. You know, we'll be like Team Old School. We got some eligibility. We'll start a program. And when Del Warren came in, you know, as one of kind of the crazy ideas that was on the board that we talked to him about. And we talked to the school, and one thing led to another. We certainly said, hey, I know what it was like when I bowled at Florida State. I mean, we, you know, didn't really have coaching. Oftentimes we had to fight for lane time. You know, I remember a week before we went to nationals, we got kicked off the lanes for practice for nationals because, you know, they did this $1 a game special for the students, and they didn't want the students to feel like they couldn't get on lanes because the bowling team. So we weren't a priority. You know, our practices were often pot games and big rev contests and, you know, crazy things like that. You know, to see, you know, you're talking about students going to college that really care a lot about bowling, and you show them that they get to spend 4 years working on their game at the training center is a pretty appealing sales pitch. From a recruiting point of view, it's quite compelling, and they've had some great results too. They've brought in some incredible athletes and had some good results. So, yeah, we're certainly proud of what that Weber's been able to accomplish.
Yeah, an international flavor there for sure. Some of the greatest female bowlers of recent pedigree, so to speak, coming out of that facility. Anybody stand out to you that's come through? I mean, so many great bowlers, but who it's produced on the tours?
Yeah, on the men's side, Marcelo stands out to me as just being a really incredible athlete, and he's a really incredible person too. He's someone I spent a lot of time with and talked to a lot, and you know, seeing what he's gone on to do in life is cool. And you know, a lot of the female players, you know, Verity and Daria have spent a lot of time at the place. I mean, Verity was there today practicing. So, you know, I've become kind of close friends with Verity. I just last week took Verity and Christus out shooting. On the ladies' side, you know, become good friends with a few of those.
Yeah, it's cool. I think what's happened down there with you guys, I think a lot of people don't realize how much you guys had to do with that. And then, of course, Dell has done an amazing job. He and Randy down there with making the program amazing, national championships and everything. So just something from nothing that's been under the watch since Kegel's been involved in bowling down there.
Yeah, it's been interesting for me to see. I mean, I bowled at Florida State 96, 97, 98. And I see a lot of the schools that are really competitive, and I don't even know who these schools are. You know, I mean, back then there were some bigger names, school names, you know, with Indiana and Nebraska and Wichita State, and, you know, Florida State had a decent team. You know, some of the school names that you see now, I didn't even know that these colleges exist, Weber included, you know. So I found it fascinating, and it makes a lot of sense for some of these smaller mid-sized schools to really make bowling a real priority and use it to kind of create an identity for the school. I know Weber certainly is very proud of that. Not a lot of people worldwide would know much about Weber International University if it wasn't for what they've accomplished in the bowling world. And I think that's true for, other smaller schools, mid-sized schools around the country. It's been really cool to watch.
Yeah. So I think the next thing that we need to do here is you sent me a care package, and we've got people in the chat. Don is actually asking what was in your package, Mike. And I think he's asking about the care package here just to keep everything PG. So I've got these things right here that you sent to me ever so graciously. And I opened the box, but that's about all that I did. And I've got them all sitting here. So you know what you sent me, and this is the chemical side of the business. And before we get to these products, I always said for the longest time, people said, Mike, what are you rooting for in bowling? And I always said, Kegel makes their own chemicals down there in Florida, and they are not shy with divvying up money into bowling, even if it doesn't make economical sense. They're going to invest in bowling, whether they get a return or not. And I said, if Kegel could ever hit the jackpot on one of these chemicals and become the next Windex of the world or something like that, being completely novice to chemicals here, so take that for what it is. But if they ever hit the jackpot with some sort of household cleaner, bowling would be in a great spot, because they would probably buy everything there is in bowling and just continue to reinvest. So when I got all these products sent to me here, I was like, here we go, and I guess we should go through them now. So I think the first item here that we wanted to look at was this right here. It's in my hand. Could you tell the folks what this is right here?
Yeah, that's our Fission pet stain and odor remover. I'll tell you the story. I mean, it's really interesting. Our lane cleaner for bowling is 5 gallons, and it's pretty heavy. I mean, it's 50 pounds, and a percentage of the formula is water. And we're shipping products all over Asia and Europe, and it's expensive to ship that stuff all over the world. So we had really wanted to come up with a super concentrate that didn't have, the expense of shipping water all around the world. No one had tried a tablet up till that point. There you go. Well, I'm getting to that in a second. I just want to tell the story because it's very interesting how we got there. So we had to make a tablet lane cleaner. And all of the other cleaning tablets that had existed up to that point all have a binding ingredient called magnesium stearate that would not dissolve in water. And in order to be used in our machines, it had to totally dissolve in water. So our chemist figured out how to make a cleaning tablet be bound together and also totally dissolve in water. And we launched that product in bowling. But our patent was on a cleaning tablet for any purpose that was completely water soluble. So we immediately started thinking of what are some of the other things that we could do. And one of the things that we discovered is the tablet, when it dissolves, it does release some CO2 in concentration. And CO2 is really, really effective at breaking down protein stains. So, blood, wine, or anything that might come out of your animal, whether it be vomit or urine. So we had this incredibly effective, product for stains and odors. And so we launched in 2009 a pet stain and odor remover called Fission. It's something that we've actually been selling outside of the bowling industry from 2009 until now. Hey, you want to hear a funny story? You'll like this, Mike. So we're getting ready to launch Fission pet stain and odor at Global Pet Expo in Orlando. It's February, 62 degrees outside. It's beautiful winter Florida day. I've got my sunroof open. We're all excited. We're launching this product outside of bowling. It's a big, big moment for our company's history. I got the music playing, beautiful day. My hair's flowing. All that hair I had back in 2009 was flowing. And then it dawned on me that I'm about to spend the next 3 days talking to people about cleaning dog poop. Like I'm going to be doing demonstrations for 3 days later about how, well, first you pick up the poop and then you block the poop and then you spray the stain. And I'm like, I'm a dog poop cleaner salesman. Like, how did that happen? That wasn't my career strategy to become a dog poop cleaner salesman. But here I am. And there I was doing demonstrations about cleaning dog poop. But it works incredibly. You have a lot of carpet in your house, Mike?
Yeah, and you sent, I don't know if you remember this, but you sent me some of this. I used to have 3 dogs, and 2 were senior
Yeah.
citizens, and they made mistakes sometimes in the house. And
Yeah.
I just fired this up right here and boom, took care of it. You know, I don't know if this was what it was intended for, but I also put it in my Bissell power cleaner, and
Mhm.
I used it as a solution in there, and this was more affordable for me, and it worked better. So
Yeah. No, it works great. I mean, one of the big benefits of being in tablet form, you're reusing the bottle, so you're not throwing the bottle away. So a lot of the people that are very environmentally conscious, that's certainly a benefit. But you're also mixing it up fresh. So really, when you fill it up with water and put it in, it takes a few minutes to dissolve. It really is super powered, excellent. There you go.
Mike, I find it very appropriate that you're wearing the shirt of a dog peeing on a fire hydrant here to represent this product.
I missed that. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's
Brad and
wonderful.
Kyle.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I sent some to, speaking of Tom Clark with my glasses, I sent Tom some. He called me last week. He said, my wife loves this stuff. She thinks it's the most amazing product ever. She wants to make sure we can get more. She sprayed it on blood, and man, it's really pretty remarkable. Like if you see it on a shirt and you spray blood, it's like it will almost disappear right there without doing anything. Remember that movie with Jack Black? Vaporize. Remember that? You know, vaporize. But where does the poo go, man? Where does it go? Where does the blood go?
Well, this is a great product. I've been using it for a few years. I've got just a beautiful little girl named Mimi dog now, and she goes outside all the time. But I will tell you, this stuff comes in handy. And as she gets into those older ages, I'm ready to go here.
Yeah,
but you can use it on more than just pets. You can use it on blood, chocolate, wine. Let's say you have an accident, Mike, and accidentally feed bed or something like that. It would come in handy. Maybe you have too much to drink one night and something like that. It would work for human protein situations as well.
Yeah, well. And Chris, next time you go to be a dog poop salesman, let us know and we'll get you one of those shirts, one of those Brad and Kyle shirts to wear.
That would be the uniform. Yeah,
well, you can stick like a patch on it for branding, but it'll get the point across.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, we actually are. So you can find it on Amazon and Chewy. You know, we're still, you know, for sale on some of those channels, plus our website. So you should see the equipment. It's really pretty remarkable. I mean, down at our place, we've got a little over about 110,000 total between the two buildings. Our main building with the training center and manufacturing. Look at that. We've got the sales pitch here for Fission. But we've got all of that equipment in one building, and then over in our other building, we actually have all the equipment to make this. A lot of companies that have products like this, they farm it out, the manufacturing and production, to someone else. We've got all of the equipment to manage the powder and press the tablets. It's kind of a unique asset for us to have. I want to tell you a quick story. This is kind of cool for the people in your audience that watch Jackson Galaxy, the show on Animal Planet called My Cat from Hell. Do either of you know who Jackson Galaxy is?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is several years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago. We show up Monday morning, and normally we'll have a handful of orders waiting for us. And this morning we showed up, and it was like 500 orders, some crazy number compared to normal. And we thought there was some mistake. Like, how could this be? And what we discovered is somebody had sent the product to Jackson Galaxy. He used it and thought it was the best thing he ever used for cat urine. So on one of his shows, again, we didn't know about this. We didn't send it to him. We didn't pay him for this, but he's helping this couple with their cat, and there's cat pee everywhere. He's got the black light all in the kitchen. It looks like a horror show. There's pee all over the place. And then he goes, the best thing I've found for cat urine is a CO2 based. And he's holding a bottle of Fission. And it was blurred out, but a lot of people went and looked, and they kind of made the connection with CO2. And so we've since made a deal with Jackson Galaxy. He sells the Jackson Galaxy branded version of the pet stain and odor remover. So pretty cool. I mean, for people that are cat fans, he's really like the superstar of cat, you know. So for someone like him, you can imagine all the products he's tried to use to have his endorsement is quite meaningful. And he did it long before we had any kind of business relationship. He just thought it was the best product.
Have you, quick question here before we move on to this next product. Have you ever thought of reaching out to the people involved in Tiger King and getting your products involved in cleaning up tiger pee and tiger poop?
Not yet. Good idea, Matt. Marketing genius. I like this.
I'm on fire these past couple of days. I'm on fire.
Good idea. Not yet.
All right.
No.
All right. Moving on.
Yes.
You've got a special product here that I believe was inspired by what the world is going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the micro striker here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the starter kit with 50 tablets, 2 bottles.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about this product as I open it up.
Well, we've actually been working on a disinfectant version of our tablet for the last couple of years, and we've, as of the last 9 months, we actually had an EPA consultant helping us. We became an EPA registered facility, which has a lot of intense requirements in terms of record keeping and a lot of samples. So we had done these things, and then when this coronavirus thing hit, we called this meeting early on before we shut down, and we just had a big brainstorming meeting about all of the problems we thought bowling centers were going to face when they started to reopen. And we knew that the shared items, the house balls, the rental shoes, the items that are kind of shared by a lot of people would be an area of concern for customers, and that we were certain that bowling centers were going to have to change their behavior and disinfect the bowling balls, So, we quickly adapted the technology that we had already been working on to put together a product to help bowling centers. So that's what MicroStriker is. It's it comes with the spray bottle here that is a mister. Have you tried this bottle yet, Mike? The bottle's awesome.
I just opened her up, but it looks like when I go to get my hair cut, when they mist your hair and spray your hair, it looks that good.
It's like one of those bottles that just has like when you pull the trigger once, it has an elongated kind of mist. So, you don't have to pull the trigger nearly as much. Funny story why it's purple. We designed it to be black. But the bottle company right now, everybody's in a weird mode with coronavirus, and they were out of everything. So they said they wouldn't be able to have the black sprayers for us for 8 to 10 weeks. We really wanted to have a solution for bowling centers much quicker than that. So they said, well, we have some purple, pink, lavender in stock we could get you. We're like, we'll go with purple, So yeah, you put that in. So this is meant to be this is a hospital grade. I'll give you too big of a sales pitch, but this is important. This is a hospital grade disinfectant. Mike, a lot of hospitals, this is a really kind of an important feature. They use disinfectants. Many of them use tablets that have a very short shelf life. Like you make it fresh and it might only last for a few hours or a day. And the reason for that is they have to be certain that the product is going to kill everything it's supposed to kill. So they use on-demand disinfecting type of products. We thought a hospital grade product made a lot of sense for bowling centers. So there's 2 bottles in the kits. The tablets are very affordable, and you make it each day because it has a short shelf life. But by making it fresh, you're certain that it is going to kill everything that it's supposed to be killing. We're currently in the lab. This lab, they added the coronavirus test to make sure that you kill that. And we were one of the first in line to have them test to make sure that we kill that and everything else, C. diff and all of those other things. The process to become a product where you actually can call yourself a disinfectant is quite cumbersome. One of the rules is they actually require you to sell the product first without being called a disinfectant before you can call it a disinfectant. So we're in the process to be allowed by the EPA to be called a disinfectant. It doesn't say that on the label, even though it is. We expect to have that in a couple months. But yeah, it's a really good, easy to use disinfectant. We started shipping a couple weeks ago. The bowling centers that have gotten it so far, we've gotten great feedback. One of the first ones called the next day, was like, listen, I want to make sure you guys have tablets available all the time because this is very easy to use. It works great. I told you this when we talked our pre-meeting, Mike, about the name. I do think it's a funny story. So there's a lot of words you can't use until you become a disinfectant. Like you can't say kills on the package until you're officially a disinfectant. So we're trying to come up with names that were literal, in terms of what it did, that would also allow us. So we kind of let the people know what it was, but also comply with the rules. So I was talking to my son who just turned 13, and I was telling him about the product. And, we told him we were coming up with a name, and I told him what it does. He goes, so it strikes the germs away, right, Dad? He goes, call it Germ Striker, And I'm like, that's actually a pretty good name, Austin. So, we had all of our employees kind of submit names. We had a big list of like 50 or 60, and then we have people vote. And Germ Striker won, my son's name. It was kind of funny. He's been asking for his piece of the action. I
was about to ask, is he getting any sort of royalties for playing a portion of coming up with this amazing product name?
Yeah. I mean, well, he's getting lots of Lego sets from me, which aren't cheap.
Yeah, that was the other thing. That was the other thing I wanted to maybe do on the show, was I was going to maybe have Kim join me, and you could have your son on, and we were going to buy the same Lego kit, and we were going to start the show them building the kit and see who could win the contest. But we weren't able to pull that one off for today.
We'll have to do that next time. But so we told the EPA consultant, and he said you can't have germ in the name. So we had to change the name, and we went with micro because we're trying to insinuate that kills small stuff. Again, we have kind of restrictions around what we can call it. So listen, bowling centers are, this is going to be an interesting period that they're going to have some challenges. I mean, they certainly, obviously this first phase about whether they're allowed to open, but definitely making customers feel comfortable when they open. So, products like this are an important part of that. There really is, obviously they can buy disinfectants from Home Depot or the grocery store, but there is some things about the bowling ball that are unique. I mean, the lane oil, it is covered with lane oil, and the lane oil does get in the way. And to really be certain that you're disinfecting the ball, the right way to do it would actually be clean it and then disinfect it. But because we make lane oil, we kind of understand the organic material and how to help the disinfectant maneuver around that material. So we've got some adjustments to the formula that actually help it almost do 2-in-1. It actually kind of cleans and disinfects simultaneously. So there really is some specific features about the tablet that make it very much a good product to solve this specific problem.
Yeah, it's awesome. And bowling centers can get this how?
Through all the Kegel distributors nationwide.
Okay.
And we sell all of our, like if you go to kegel.net on our website and click distributors, all of our distributors are listed there. Most of the bowling centers that are potentially buy this, they have a good sense of who their distributor would be.
Okay, cool. And then would there be a reason why like just a normal person like me would want to order this for their home, or can they get it? Is it available online or anything like that?
We haven't set up to do that, but it's possible, Mike. One of the things that we're working on now is we actually have a version of it that does not have the bowling kind of marketing with it. We were waiting until we actually had the disinfectant name, which is a couple months away, before we really went after that. But we talked to a big janitorial supply president of a company that we buy products from yesterday. And one of the things he made us aware of is that there's a big shortage of these chlorinated tablet disinfectants, and that a lot of them come from China. And there's this big push to move away from Chinese manufactured products towards American-made products. And he told me that his supplier said they can't get more of this until January. So for there to be American capacity to manufacture this type of product here could really find a home with some companies. So we're talking to some now. We can manufacture, depending on certain varos, between 3 and 5 million tablets a month.
That's great.
So we've got a lot of capacity, and basically one of the first things we're looking to do is become contract manufacturing for someone else that's already in this game. That if there's really a shortage of supply, and a lot of the supply is coming from overseas, if someone can get real consistent supply here domestically, we've got some capacity that we could sell. So that's really kind of the direction we're moving in, a non-bowling to the consumer kind of an item. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Last item here, because I will have to leave the show here in about 5 minutes or so. But we've got this item here that you sent me. Could you explain to the folks at home what we have here?
Yeah, that's called Bowling Buddies. What we called this was Project Lemonade that first day, Mike, where we were talking about a lot of the problems bowling centers were going to face, and really trying to make customers feel comfortable in the bowling center. This is a product that actually has been on the market for 3-4 years. You guys both know Cameron Doyle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So his dad, Sean, they've got a couple lanes downstairs in their house. And how the product came to life was they had some friends over, and he didn't have any rental shoes to give them. So, they had this problem where he's not going to stock rental shoes at his home. So, the idea was born there, which is, wow, would it be great to have some kind of cover over your shoes, where I can just come over in my sneakers and wear something that is designed for the bowling approach. So he launched a product a few years ago, and I had talked to Sean. Mookie Betts bought a lane machine from us for his mansion, but his mansion wasn't done yet. So Mookie had us deliver the lane machine to Sean's house. And so we installed the lane machine with Mookie at Sean's house, and Sean and I got talking that day. And Sean's an orthodontist. He's been doing this on his side. It's really his baby, but he was looking to partner with a bowling company that could really take over the sales and marketing and distribution, a lot of that stuff. So, right when this coronavirus thing happened, I thought the product has enormous appeal, because, the rental shoes obviously there. I don't see this as a replacement to rental shoes. I see it really as an option. If you think about how much the bowling center would gain in their marketing to potential customers just by saying, hey, if you want to keep your sneakers on, you can. We have an option available now where you can use a product like this. And so far, what we've seen is the response from bowling centers has been really, really quite enormous, because they see it as that exact solution, as an option. They want to make sure all their customers feel comfortable, and to have an option like this makes a lot of sense. So we ran into another issue, which was right at this time where we have a lot of demand. The supplier of this product, it uses the same material as surgical masks.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's fighting for that material. So we've had to really, go through a lot of hoops to try to secure supply. So we've just got that sorted. We'll have inventory here in July, and we've already kind of got some pricing and information out to our distributors. Again, like we long term. Man, we got to help our bowling centers be healthy, and anything we can do to help our bowling centers, survive and thrive again, is a priority for us, So both of these things really help solve problems for them that they're going to have. And, if they provide a little sense of peace of mind and security for some of their customers to go bowling again, then that's a good thing, So.
Yeah. And if folks want to pick up some of this stuff, Lee just chimed in, our BowlerX, our sponsor of the poll question. You can pick up some of this stuff over at bowlerx.com as well. Chris, I got to bounce. I got to get out of here. I got to go to the other show.
Sure.
Matt's going to
talk to you guys.
Yeah, Matt's going to take you home. Matt's going to take you home here today. I've got a list of questions with Matt, things I wanted to get to today. You guys can stay as long as you want, go as long as you want. I appreciate you coming on the program here today, Chris. I really do.
It's been fun. Have fun, Mike, and do a good job there with USB-C. I've been watching some of those. Those have been great too.
All right. Thanks, brother.
All right.
Take them home, Matt.
All righty, Chris. Well, now that Mike is gone, we can start having some fun here. And this is a portion of the show every Friday that I like to say this is where we burn the show to the ground here. And this is where the stuff really starts to hit the fan. I've got this. I've heard about some funny story involving you and Bowl Expo and George Bush. Could you share that story with everybody? I've heard it's quite hilarious.
I knew Mike. I was trying to think of kind of what some questions would come. I knew he was going to talk about the George Bush thing. Mike loves that story. It is better in video format, I think, than it would be like in podcast, just audio only. So for several years, I served on the board of the Billiard and Bowling Institute of America. And then I was president. My final year is kind of how you work through being on the board. You're convention chair, then become vice president, and then your final year, you're president. So the year I was president, the BBIA was making a large donation. So I was invited at the big general session to come on stage and to present this check. So that happened to be the same year that George W. Bush was the keynote speaker. So only the speakers were allowed to be backstage. And it was John Harbuck, who was really kind of the ringleader, me, Barry Sanders, who was kind of and President George W. Bush, So we go backstage and it's me and Barry Sanders kind of standing there. By the way, my wife's from Detroit and the biggest Barry Sanders fan of all time. So she was really mad at me, very jealous. But they come over, the Secret Service comes over and they're like, listen, guys, you can't talk to him. You can't shake his hands. You can't ask him any questions. You can't go anywhere near him. None of that stuff. You stay over here, do your thing, and then move along. We're like, oh, okay, fine, So me and Barry Sanders are kind of standing there, and they've got this kind of roped off area in the back corner, and I can hear him, talking to people. His voice is very recognizable. I can hear him talking. We're not expecting to see him. We're expecting to go on and be done before he comes out. And then all of a sudden, he just pops out, from the curtain, comes walking straight towards me and Barry Sanders, walks right up to me. Puts his hand out. He goes, George W. Bush. I'm like, I know who you are, And he was super cool. We got to take pictures with him. He was telling me about Putin. That was kind of funny. He's like, that son of a bitch, Putin. It was a wild experience. So yeah, I've got a great picture from that. But it was an interesting moment, fun story. Definitely a great memory, to show the kids, they met the president.
That's an incredible story. One I'm sure you'll never forget. Not only meeting Barry Sanders, but meeting George Bush. That's amazing. I want to switch gears a little bit, go back to talking a little bit more about business and more personal for you. You became CEO at a very young age. What was that journey like, and what helped you become so successful at such a young age?
I drew the short straw when we were drawing straws. It was just circumstances really more than anything. When I got the job at Kegel, it was really right place, right time. Kegel had sold machines to DBA. They had made machines and sold them under the DBA brand. When Brunswick bought DBA, Kegel made the decision to launch machines with their own brand on them. And that was right around the time I was a year out of college. So Kegel needed to, launch their brand, set up distribution, and do all of that sales and marketing. And John Davis gave me the opportunity to work on that at a really young age. I was 23, setting up the worldwide distribution network for Kegel. So I got a lot of really incredible experience very, very early on. I remember telling John Davis, John, I have no idea how to do this. I've never done this before. And he said, neither do we. We'll figure it out together. Your instincts are good and I trust your judgment. And so I was really, really lucky to most of the time when you're that age, you're behind someone else that's doing all of that work and you are kind of learning behind them along the way. And it just, I just got that experience. And then John in 2010, he was taking care of his wife. I had been there 11 years at that point. I was 30. When was this? 2000. I was 34. And so he was not coming into the office because he was staying home, taking care of his wife. And there was a real absence of, there were a lot of vice presidents, and there was a real absence of kind of one voice kind of leading the team internally. And because we didn't have that, I just started calling those meetings and started getting the team together. And John, would tell me that he was waiting for someone to do that, that he knew that someone would ultimately kind of recognize that was needed and emerge. So, yes, I became president in 2010. And rest, it's really history now. I mean, I've been CEO since 2016. When John passed, we lost John early 2013. That was tough. I mean, he was someone that was a great mentor. I learned so much from him, how he treated customers, how he cared about the industry, how he cared about his employees were all values that are firmly instilled in me and we carry forward daily in how we run the company. But I would go over to his house once every 2 weeks and I would tell him what was going on and we would talk about what we're doing. And he would always agree. Like he would never disagree and say, no, I think you should go left, not right. But when we didn't have him there anymore, I felt a real vulnerability. He wasn't there. And even though he was always just kind of saying yes to what we were doing anyways, to not have him there to reinforce that you were doing the right thing felt a little scary. So I chose to go get my MBA at that point, just to really try to put as many tools in my toolbox as possible, really try to help me as much as I could. So that was a great experience. I learned a lot from that. And for those that are kind of thinking about MBA, I am a firm believer of kind of waiting till you've worked a little bit to learn that, because having a real world kind of setting to apply a lot of those tools and a lot of that knowledge to really makes a huge difference. I've got a lot out of it. So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on, Chris. We had a great talk today. You do a lot for the sport of bowling. And as a bowler, as someone who's transitioned more into the business side of things, I really appreciate people like yourself, not only doing what you do, but coming out and being willing to share your knowledge and your expertise with everybody to really, and your understanding for the fact that if we as a sport win, everybody wins. And it's not everybody just trying to duke it out, but yet trying to collaborate together and see how we as a sport can grow together. This way, everybody's piece of the pie gets bigger together and we all win.
Yeah. I'll leave you with this thought. You ever see the movie A Beautiful Mind, John Nash?
Yes.
John, it's called the Nash's Equilibrium, I think. In the movie, there's that scene where the previous prevailing thought is that in order for members of a group to be better off, that each member of the group needs to pursue their own best interest. And Nash kind of discovered, his insight was, that's right, but it's incomplete. Every member of the group needs to pursue their own best interest and what's best for the group in order for the group to be best off. And I think of that a lot right now, because it's easy right now to think about all of the risks and all of the uncertainty that every business is facing. We all are. And but decisions really have to be made right now through that lens of what's best for me and my partners, what's best for me and my customers, and what's best for me and the industry overall. They have to be thought about that way, because we all need each other, to be successful. And, in a situation like this, one of the things that we don't have as experience, none of us do. So I think we really have to lean on our values to really help guide us through it. So that is something I aren't just nice words, something I really, they guide our decisions, and they guide kind of the directions that we go, and the decisions we make. We recently kind of extended our warranty for lane machines. If you're constantly kind of putting yourself in the shoes of customers and thinking about their problems too, some of those thoughts come pretty easily.
Wow. Well, that's amazing, Chris. I think our time is up for today. So I want to thank you so much again for coming on the show, taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with us. And as we continue on with the show, we're definitely going to have you on again to talk more about the sport of bowling and just life as a whole. So thanks a lot, Chris.
I'd love that. I enjoyed it. You guys keep up the good work.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it. Take care. All righty, folks. Well, there you have it. Episode number 35 is in the books. Chris Chartrand, what an awesome individual for not only just the sport of bowling, but for business just in general, trying to expand out and expand the horizons of the sport of bowling and grow the sport of bowling. So we really appreciate him coming on. Make sure you guys head on over to the USBC Facebook page, as they are going live right now with our business partners, Brad and Kyle, and Mike as well. So go over, check out that show. It's going to be an incredible show today. Also, on Monday, we've got Chad Murphy as our guest. So come on, hang out with us on Monday at our usual time of 1 p.m. Eastern to see what questions we'll have for Chad Murphy, and hopefully hear some great answers like always. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. We hope you guys have a great, safe weekend. Take care, and we'll see you on Monday.